Hello, I'm John Stopford. I'm Head of Multi-Asset Income at 91. I want to talk to you today about the problems we think are impacting economies and markets and are likely to continue to do so. So for the last decade or so, we've seen lackluster real and nominal growth across the world, despite really loose and increasingly loose monetary policy from central banks. And this paradox, I think, was best summed up by Larry Summers when he resurrected the term secular stagnation, the idea that the global economy is weighed down by long-run pressures, aging demographics, too much debt, and so on, and that ever looser policy or extremely loose policy is required just to keep the show on the road. And that conflict or that paradox, we think, is inherently unstable. It's two large forces, weak demand and loose policy pushing against each other, causing market volatility, occasionally episodes of market strength as policy leaks into financial prices, but also significant market drawdowns and sell-offs, as we've seen periodically over the last decade in 2011-12, 2015-16, 2018, and most recently during the COVID crisis during 2020. And so this environment, we think, isn't changing. If anything, the COVID backdrop has led to more extreme pressures on the global economy as businesses have had to contend with a completely different way of operating, coupled with a commitment by central banks just to double down on ever looser policy. So instability, we think, is something we have to live with. It's exacerbated as well since the global financial crisis by a decline in market liquidity, which means that we get more violent market moves. And that's a consequence of banks, brokers, and so on having less capacity to employ capital to make markets. And so thinner markets lead to more violent moves. So the combination of secular stagnation, loose policy, low liquidity, we think means we're going to continue to see episodic drawdowns in markets, even if over time markets rise. And so we think there's a place in investors' portfolios for more defensive strategies, that are designed to try and smooth that ride, protect investors during more difficult times, and provide a sort of core underlying defensive return profile. So for us, in this strained, unstable economic and market backdrop, defense still makes sense. Thank you.